This the N.C beat. I got a freak elite like Pablo Pete. 980 the Neo Fold is where the Charlotte leaks. 252 for the Greenville. Hat on blue for the Tar Heels. I can edge them on this paradox like crack foes, like the locks. We knock bolts and the knots. Now I know when he talks how I can't even announce my parent script and reach the doc. Cause when this ball point to close, my mental travel hellish spots like astro projection. Cannot conjoint the two of us if there is no connection. But you can close section. The NCB, the NCB. The NCB, the NCB, whoa, whoa.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, I love you, Mr. Jackson, for real, I do.
I almost got away. If it wasn't for that goddamn Gerald Jackson and the NC beat mob, I almost got away. Got to be more careful.
Yep, that's right. You almost got away. But if it wasn't for me, you would have got away. But too bad, too sad. You're not getting away. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in on tonight. Listen, under the sound of my voice, I need y'all to share this live. Share this live. We have a father who's going to come on tonight. Before he come on, I'm going to talk about this story. But share the live. Tag someone. If you know about Hassan Williams, who was killed back in October of last year, you know his story. You've been following his story. Share this story because only one side has been told, and it's been told from extended family, not nobody that's close. I just don't understand how Raven thought that she could just get up at a press conference and talk about we ain't heard from no extended family. Girl, you are the extended family. You and Big Boy, Big Mayor is the extended family. And so tonight, Mr. Timmy Williams, the father of Hassan Williams, will be on tonight. His voice has been silenced. He reached out to news outlets, mainstream media outlets out in High Point. They've ignored him. He reached out to the mayor to try to get some type of clarity and some answers. He's been ignored. The mayor ignored him. The wife, nobody's called. These people are acting like, you know, college is more important than what justice did at 448 Ridgebrook Drive on October 19th in High Point, North Carolina. He should be in jail right now. You shouldn't be in no dormitory. You shouldn't be at no college. Your ass should be in jail without the bail. That's where you should be. And your people should be in jail too for trying to help your raggedy. You know what? I ain't gonna go there tonight. I'm gonna be professional on tonight, because I got Mr. Timmy coming up here. So I'm going to be very respectful tonight because this is his son's story. And this is Hassan's story. And tonight I'm going to tell the story. Now, let me tell you, first of all, let me just shout out to everybody that's watching, that's tuned in on tonight. Please share the live, tag someone. Let me know where you're watching from on tonight. And drop some hearts in the comments for Mr. Timmy. For Mr. Timmy, they are going through it. And, you know, people, man, listen, when I break this story down for y'all, this is just a crazy story. It's just a crazy story. And see, Mr. Timmy, you know, his voice speaks volume. That's why don't nobody want to talk. That's why the people didn't reach back out to him. But guess what? The baddest blogger here. Y'all already know I give families platforms to speak up because we ain't doing no covering up. Okay? So listen. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in on tonight. Now, let me say this. First of all, let me show you guys who Mr. Hassan is. He was 32 years old and he passed away on October 19, 2024 at his home. Okay. Now, there were two people inside this home. Now, Brandon, I'm still trying to get some more information on Brandon. I wasn't able to get his photo and stuff, but if you have his photo, send it to me. But we were able to get the shooter's information, which I feel like is more important to have than anything. The fact that a gun was pointed at someone for a bullet wound to be right here in their forehead. How you accidentally shoot somebody perfectly right in the middle of their forehead, that is not an accident. But you know, y'all say it is an accident. We just gonna say it's an accident. Y'all know Justice got to go to college. Y'all know he just graduated out of high school. Y'all know I'm his sister and I've been working so hard for him to go to college. Y'all got to say this, you know, but we're gonna talk about it tonight. And I don't know why the mayor, Sirius, I'm gonna just call you Serial on tonight, Serial Jefferson. I don't know why you didn't stand in the mirror and practice and practice and practice a little bit more before, you waited 47 days to come out to a press conference, when I felt like you should have just came to the press. You should have just did a press conference the day after the incident to clear your name up fast. Y'all done had 20 days before you spoke out, 47 days for the press conference, calling lawyers the same night, trying to get lawyers on the line the same night. Showing you should have stayed your ass in the car. You shouldn't have got out when you went to the police department. You shouldn't have got out when you went to the scene. And first of all, Raven, girl, you just the sister. You ain't even a mama. You just the sister of the shooter. Why your husband is this? So you want to know why I say, in my opinion, that I believe you influenced this investigation? We're going to show enough know if you influenced it if no charges are brought. Because I feel like the Guilford County DA's office, I feel like she just need to go on and give the case over to a special prosecutor, because all y'all connected. The mayor, y'all know each other. You think that if I'm in a high position and I'm friends with somebody, you think I want to disappoint my friend? No. Everybody that got to touch this case that's related, that's in Guilford County, we just ask y'all to just pass this case on over to a special prosecutor, so we know ain't no bias involved, because we know, Justice got to get to college, and he in college, and we worked so hard to get him in college, and all we worried about is in college. How you got the shooter staying in your house, and you mean to tell me you ain't even ask him what happened? Y'all just been focusing on college education. That's why it came up as an accident. That's what y'all saying, huh? Okay. We're going to talk about it on the night. So the shooter is right here. This is the shooter, Justice Rothwell. He's the shooter, okay? Now, he is the brother of Raven Jefferson, okay? And Raven Jefferson, she is the wife of High Point Mayor Serial Jefferson, okay? Now, I'm going to play this press conference, and I want y'all to get a pen and paper, and then I'm going to say what I got to say. And I'm going to make it short. I'm going to stop in and say what I got to say when it get to parts that I want to point out to y'all. And then we're going to bring up Mr. Timmy, and we're going to let him talk and let him say what he wants to say. This is his platform tonight. I'm giving him the floor tonight. And so because he deserves it, he has a right, because this don't make no sense to be talking about an accident. I just think they just trying to cover up. So let me put my disclaimer up before we move any further on tonight. Okay, now this story is real, but I want to let you know, entertainment purposes only. The content of this live show is intended for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed are those of the performers and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any entity. Some material may be considered salacious and is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. By continuing to watch, you acknowledge that you understand and you accept these terms. Okay, now let me pull this up for y'all. Let me take y'all down off the screen, because I'm going to need all my screen tonight. So I want to put this screen share up first of a press release that was released by the High Point Police Department back during this incident, okay, by Chief Curtis Cheek. It says a death, they're labeling it death by a firearm. On Saturday, October 19, 2024 at 9:10 p.m., High Point police officers responded to 448 Ridgebrook Drive in reference to a death by firearm. Okay. Upon arrival, officers located Hassan Williams, black male, 32 years old, suffering from a single gunshot wound to the head. Williams was transported to Atrium Health, Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center in Winston-Salem, where he died as a result of his injuries. The High Point Police Department Violent Crimes Unit responded to the scene and began their investigation. So it seems to me they were still on the scene when the mayor went back out there. Based on initial statements on the scene, it was discovered that an involved party may be related to a city of High Point elected official. Due to this discovery, the State Bureau of Investigation was contacted to assume the responsibility of the investigation to ensure that a fair and impartial investigation is completed. No other information will be released at this time. Okay, so that's the press. That's the presser that was released. Now, 47 days. The mayor comes out and he does a press conference. It's about 17 minutes long, but it's interesting. I want you guys to watch it. I want you guys to watch his body language, and I'm going to point out some things that I think that he said that probably contradicts himself, but we're going to see how it goes. But I want you guys to watch this, and then we're going to go and we're going to talk to Mr. Timmy. Okay, so We're going to go to this press conference right now. Okay. Now, let me just say this. Before I get to that, let me just say this. So it was 3 people at the house, okay? And let me show you the other person who was at the house because I forgot to show you, okay? This was Hassan's fiance, Tori Johnson. She was also at the house, okay? Now, she claims that she was upstairs, but when she called 911, she said it was an accident, but you was upstairs. You said you wasn't there. So how you know it was an accident? Or is that what Justice and Brandon told you to tell police when you called 911? I mean, we just trying to understand, girl, because I don't know how you was upstairs or in another room, nowhere near, and all of a sudden, it's how y'all so quick to say this an accident when somebody been shot perfectly right in the middle of their forehead, middle of their head, in their head, just in the head perfectly. I'm just trying to understand, right? So, we're gonna get to that. I'll wait for that. But anyways, apparently, a gun was being messed with because this is what Justice told the police, that him and his cousin was messing with the gun and it went off and it hit him in the head. Okay. And nobody's been charged. They're trying to say it's an accident. The extended family trying to say it's an accident, but we don't believe it's an accident. We believe it is murder, involuntary manslaughter, because accidents, charges can be filed in the case of accidents. Involuntary manslaughter, that's a charge where you didn't intentionally do it, but we don't know what happened because it was only Brandon, Justin, cousins of Hassan, and Tori, but she was not down there. So the only people that could conspire and come up with a story is the 2 down there to say what really happened in the kitchen when Tori was upstairs and we were the only people down here. Okay. So let's get to this press conference. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Now, this is the mayor. Okay. This is Justice's brother-in-law. Okay. His sister's husband, the mayor of High Point, North Carolina.
I also want to say thank you to our pastor, Dr. Harvey Rice, for allowing us to host the event here today. And also thank you to my wife. Obviously, this has been incredibly tough for her with the loss of family. On, I believe it was Saturday, October 19th, the incident that many of you all have reported on, where Hassan Williams lost his life, was a night that we remember vividly. I was in the living room with my mother, and we were having a conversation about her birthday coming up, actually, and I heard my wife shout out basically a statement of disbelief, and I ran in our room to hear what it was about, and she told me that she had just gotten a phone call regarding a tragic accident in which her cousin had suffered a gunshot wound to the head, that he was being rushed to Wake Forest Baptist
Moderators,
Hospital,
block him, please.
and that he had been in the company of other family members, one being my wife's brother, and another cousin of theirs, that they had all been at the house, as well as Hassan's fiance and child were at the house too. And she had gotten a story about this, and she was incredibly shaken up, as you can imagine. And I asked her, what do you need me to do? And she said, the police are going to give the brother, the cousin, and fiance a ride down to the station. They're now under arrest. They're going to give them a ride to the station to ask some questions. Will you come with me to the station? And I can recall getting the question from her, and she'll recall my first thing to her was, you want me to come with you to the station? Because my first thought is, in moments like this, do you, in what capacity do you show up? But looking in her eyes, tearing up, voice shaking, I knew exactly what was most important at that time, and that was that I need to be a supportive husband. She was in no condition to drive, and I need to be with her. And so we all rode down to the station, she and I. Thankfully, my mom, who was already there with us, was able to keep watch of the boys while we were away. Upon arriving to the station, we were in the lobby. We saw the chaplain who was consoling the fiance.
And now this is what I mean by the mayor should have stayed in the car, because your presence is influence. You need to stay in the car. Okay. Probably part of the reason why this case went to the SBI is because the mayor is all in here. Oh my gosh, they're related to the mayor. The mayor is, the mayor. You should have stayed in the car. The chaplain could have handled Raven. You could have stayed in the car. You don't forget, you are the mayor. You are the mayor. Okay. You should have stayed in the car. You shouldn't even went in there.
And we mentioned to the folks who were there who we were. Upon shaking hands, stated my name. One of them immediately said, "I know you. You're the mayor." And I made it clear I'm not here in the capacity of mayor whatsoever. I'm here purely as a supportive husband. The gentlemen who are here with you all,
but I couldn't tell if I was a police officer and you're my boss, because he is the boss of the police department. I couldn't tell. I wouldn't be able to tell if I do something wrong, I'm gonna get fired, I'm gonna get retaliated against, So me believing you being here as part of just a supporting husband might be hard. I don't know.
We're at the house with Hassan, are my wife's brother and cousin. And this tragic accident that we've heard about, we're here to ensure that the young men have support they need, especially because we want to ensure that they had some form of legal counsel. And so we made several phone calls.
Now listen, this is the mayor where a shooting has happened in his city, and he's worried about his wife, right? His brother-in-law and Brandon having legal counsel. You see what I'm saying? You see how this become a problem, because you don't stand up there and make sure other victims or other suspects in High Point, North Carolina, who've been gunned down, make sure they have legal counsel, So hey,
that night, trying to get a hold of lawyers. You recall October 19th was the night of A&T's homecoming, which is a universally big event. So it was really tough trying to get in touch with lawyers. And I could recall probably for an hour and a half, we called and kept calling. And finally got a hold of a lawyer. And I believe my wife had the lawyer on the line talking to the officers.
Nervous.
At that moment, we followed every single rule that was asked of us, just like any regular citizen would do in that situation. We remained quiet. We sat down. When we were asked to exit the lobby so that way they could have the space they needed, he exited the lobby, waited out in the car for hours. Eventually, they opened the door, and Justice and Brandon were walking out. And we walked to go meet them, and the officer said they're free to go home. And we asked, well, what's next? And they said they just need to come back with a lawyer. They can call us and book an interview. And those fellows did that over the next couple of days. We took them to the residence on Ridgebrook Drive because their ID and license.
Now, at this point, he's now the mayor of High Point. And see, this is what I'm saying. I understand that the sister, because let me say this. When people, family members die, some people be at work across the country. They can't really get back in time enough right then. Now, in this situation, I do understand that this is his wife. I understand that, but he is the mayor, okay? And it does not hurt to send your wife with her family over there, because you have to remember, I am still the mayor. And when you get home, y'all cuddle, you make love to her, you do what you do to comfort your wife. But I feel like it's an influence. Now they are going back to the residence to retrieve stuff. We don't know if they're moving stuff around. We don't know if they took evidence from the scene. We don't know what's going on. We honestly don't know what's going on. Okay. All I can say is that this mayor's presence has been a heavy influence.
Cell phone, clothes, everything were there. In fact, one of the cousins was living there with Hassan, and so all of his belongings were at that home. And so we went there. Many of you all reported my statement about us arriving that night with other family members who were also there. And my wife's aunt, she greeted her and hugged her and embraced her, and we expressed condolences because by that time we had gotten the news about Hassan's passing. And we ended up leaving after that, after acquiring the things, saying bye to family. We went home, got up, went to church the next day, and that's really it.
But that's what they do. They go to church the next day after they done, took somebody's life. They go to church and see if God can forgive you. You go to church, ask God to forgive you. We're going to try to get you out of this. We're going to try to say it's an accident. I'm going to use my position as the mayor to try to get you up out of this. I'm going to do everything I can. I know when y'all was trying to find them lawyers, I bet you 9 times out of 10, you say, hey, this the mayor of High Point. Hey, man, hey, this Jefferson, man. My wife's son that got us in trouble. We need a lawyer. Did you say your name was did you say you was the mayor, or did you just say my name was Serial Jefferson? Which one did you use, sir? We just trying to understand.
In terms of the incident and the investigation, we've got no involvement in that whatsoever, obviously. The city manager and police chief, it was all up to them. I had no communication with them whatsoever, and their determination after all the consultation the chief had with his team was that it was better to pass it over to the State Bureau of Investigation just to avoid any appearance, perception, any potential impropriety or conflict of interest. And I stayed entirely out of that decision, and the SBI, as far as I know, is still having an open investigation. So we appreciate y'all being here for this. At this time, I'll invite my wife up to have some words.
Good morning. Like my husband said, thank you all for being here. I want to start off.
Let me say this. This is Raven, okay? Jefferson, okay? This is the shooter's sister, okay? Now, she up here, she trying to save her brother, because you're going to hear how the mayor talks about how much she worked hard to put him in college, to get him to go to school. And you're going to just listen to what the mayor say. Listen to this.
By expressing that I love my cousin and that my heart is broken for his loss. My heart especially cries out for my aunt, who is his mother, his extended family, as well as, most importantly, his children, who he loved tremendously. Family meant the world to my cousin. And I wanted to start off by honoring his memory in that way. I also want to say that I love my brother. We're a small family, and we're all each other has. And this unfortunate tragedy has shaken all of our worlds. And so I want to thank you all for your understanding and your patience and giving us the room and space we need to grieve throughout this tragedy. So thank you.
Thank you, Robert. This time we'll take a few questions in case you all have any.
To the question, listen.
Mayor, is it the case that the wife's brother spent the evening with you after the incident? Is that correct?
No, that's correct. In fact, he lives with us now.
Yeah.
Justice graduated high school several months ago, Andrews High School, and is preparing to go to college in January. And so we've been supportive of that. My wife is, as she mentioned, she loves her little brother. She's been incredibly supportive in helping him with getting into school. And every opportunity that she can, she does her best to be supportive of him.
They worried about college. You hear this? Do y'all hear? This is the mayor of High Point, North Carolina. Not one time I ain't heard him say nothing about gun violence. This is my wife. She loves his brother. So you don't think your wife gonna be calling you the mayor? Oh, baby. I mean, you hear these people talk about college. Now, he ain't done with college. Remember, the shooter, let me put the shooter back up here because y'all got to see who the shooter is. Justice lives with them. Now, I don't know what Diana is or why she don't have her son or why he ain't staying with her, but She loves her little brother, Justice. They worked so hard to get him in school. Oh, listen now, this ain't it. This ain't all the mayor had to say about the college. It ain't all that he had to say about the college. And make sure y'all share the live, tag somebody.
I did notice that on the incident report, I did not see the name of your wife's brother Justice, and I don't understand whether he was indeed at the house or not when the shooting took place. Did you happen? Could you comment?
I can't comment about the report. I didn't do the report. We weren't involved in that in any way. But to our understanding, yes, he was there at the house that evening. Paul?
So looking back, I know you said this was turned over to the police, but looking back, do you wish that your name had been released earlier at the time of the shooting and that it had been made clear that you were a relative and would have stemmed some of those rumors online?
You know, Paul, that's a great question. I'll be honest, in the days and weeks following the event, all we were doing as a family was mourning and thinking about that. Anyone who has followed me and the things I've said will know that family is a value to us, and that was the priority. So, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned in your statement that you are an advocate for gun safety. I can imagine you have more that you would like to say when it comes to gun safety, but were you aware that family members obtained firearms or had firearms in their possession?
No, had no idea about that.
Look at his face. He lying. Look at his face. This mayor is full of shit, and I'm a for you every damn thing in his emails. Any public, cause see the DA, the mayor, their emails are public records when it relates to public business. And I'm gonna see if you communicated with anybody on your professional emails related to this case, sir. You know you damn lying. Let me rewind this back. Look at his face. He lying. He know damn well family members got guns. Come on now. Mayor, you need to stop that. You need to stop.
Comes to gun safety, but were you aware that family members obtained firearms or had firearms in their possession?
No, had no idea about that, honestly. Yes, ma'am.
Why was no one arrested in this case, and do you feel that maybe there should be some form of justice for what happened?
I can't speak to why an arrest wasn't made. We weren't there. I think from what is being reported and coming out in some of the records of that evening and the communications, I think it was pretty clearly understood that it was an accident. And so whatever the protocol is for that, I think you'd have to speak with law enforcement to figure it
out. Again, here go the mayor boasting. Here he go boasting. Instead of saying that the investigation is still ongoing, information is, he boasted. He's using his position as mayor to put out words in the air so that that district attorney in Guilford County can rule this as an accident. See, the mayor is influencing this case in my eyes so much and has already done it. He's already done it. It's pretty clear it's an accident. You're not the district attorney. You don't make that call to say it's an accident. There's an ongoing investigation. So to sit here and say, oh, from the communications and all of this, it's clearly an accident. No, you trying to protect your brother-in-law and your wife's brother so he could go to school and go to college when he done took a man's life for being negligent. Or was it intentional? Just saying, these people get on my
that out, but I can't speak to why he wasn't arrested or why no one was arrested on that night. What I can say is whenever someone loses their first cousin to a tragic accident in that way and you're involved, the incredible amount of remorse, probably regret that he's feeling is deep. And so I can't speak to how justice should be handed down, justice that is. Again, we've got no involvement in that. Yes, ma'am.
What is making you speak now?
I think it's always been important to us that people can have confidence in who their elected leaders are. And to be clear, whenever people reach out in a one-to-one conversation, I'm pretty clear in terms of answering questions. This sort of spectacle that has become, I mean, it's clear that obviously the family's connected to an elected official, and that's why it's, I mean, just to be honest, that's why it's a headline.
And you waited 47 days to come and do a press conference when you should have killed this the first night. You should have did this the next day, Sunday, Monday. We got to have a press conference so the people of our community know that I can be trusted, that I have no involvement in this case. But no, you waited 47 days to come out and do this press conference. You spoke 20 days afterwards, giving a statement, wasn't giving more than what you gave now. Because what y'all had to do? Come up with the plan. Y'all had to come up. What y'all had to do?
It's my job, number one, to be the family man that I am, and number two, to serve in the capacity and to the best ability in terms of the city's interests. And that's always what we've been focused on. As we've begun to see that this story has become and picked up, that's when it became a little more clear that, okay, it's probably best to clarify some things. And we're an open book. In fact, I think many of you all got the emails that came out about this, that we sit and set up this news conference so we can answer those questions. We also make sure you all know how to access the public records that are going to detail the events of that evening. We think the public records, when you read it, will absolutely make it clear what our involvement was. And we want to make sure that we can address all those questions.
I have another question. Obviously, we're here today because you are an elected official, but if you were not involved, an elected official was not involved, we would probably still reach out to family and try to learn more about Hassan. So I would love to ask you, with him, with your husband aside, what kind of person was Hassan to you? What kind of relationship did you have, and what will you remember him most for?
I can't believe this long lost cousin is sitting up here acting like that. Data family. Like, I just don't, y'all people is some crafty ass people.
I know it's tough. I'm sorry.
Thank you for that question, because I wish this time was more focused on honoring his memory. And so he was my first cousin. We grew up together during his childhood when he lived here in High Point. We were the same age, even though he joked and said he was older than me, only by a few months. My cousin was always about family. It was very funny. We knew him as Red. Very, very protective of his family. Loved his family, would do any and everything, especially for the women in his family. And his children, he loved them so much. So when I say I love my cousin, I really do. And I'm sorry for his loss, and we will miss him.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you say to anyone who, has gone on social media and maybe said things that weren't true or took the situation out of proportion?
I can't speak to those actions. All of us who sign up to run for office and get elected know that there's a certain part of this job of being a public figure where you can't be a part of every conversation that's ever had. The very best thing we can ever do is be that example, be true, be honest, serve with integrity, represent the very best in terms of interest. As a man of faith, our pastor preaches that your fruit should speak for you. And so it's always been important to us to live out those values, live out that faith. And that ultimately, when people see that, that'll be the conversation that resonates the most. Yes, ma'am.
Have you had any conversations with Justice? Can you tell me what kind of conversations you might have had with your cousin leading up to whatever might have happened? Because there are things.
Now, let me say this. Now, this is my part right here that got me like, what in the world? Now, remember, he said that Justice lives with him, right? Live with him and his wife, right? Okay. The reporter is asking him, what type of conversations have you, asked him what happened or what led up to the conversations? Listen to what this mayor says. I'm just lost for words. Here we go.
Some conversations did occur within the home as far
No, I've not been involved in any conversations with Justice about the event. I think the best I've tried to do is be supportive of how he's a young man trying to go to college, and as someone who's a former educator, that's the part that appeals most to me. And so I focus on that. And we went to church that next day. I made sure he came with me to church, and asked Pastor Mason at that time. I had to read a proclamation for John Mason Day and asked Pastor Mason to say a prayer for us. And that's been my involvement in terms of supporting justice.
This man want us to believe he ain't had not one. So if you don't know what led up to the incident, how can you say it's an accident? How can you just take Justice's word and run with it and say this is an accident? Mayor, so you mean to tell me y'all didn't ask Justice what happened? How do you know it's an accident? Did the police department, your police department, already say it's an accident, sir? I'm just trying to understand. I'm going to get ready to bring the parents on because I'm getting ready to bring Mr. Timmy on because I have them waiting right here. But this is my point. Y'all so worried about him going to college. Oh, we have not had any conversation or anything like that. He's a young man. We've just been focusing on him going to college. And sir, that's all y'all thinking about is trying to get this. I ain't gonna say it. This shooter in college. That's all y'all care about. That's all y'all care about. That's all Raven care about is getting her shooting ass brother in college. That's all y'all thinking about. You lying. You sit up here lying. It's all on your fat face. It's all on your fat body. And it's all on that raggedy ass cheap suit. You need to resign. You need to step down because the people can't trust. Is this who High Point? High Point, is this who y'all elected? What? Sir, you ain't had no conversation with Justice. So how do you know it's an accident? Did the police, how the police tell you it's an accident? Because the SBI is still investigating as of right now. So who told you it was an accident? What communications have you had? Because you said communications earlier. From all the communications, everything that we've heard, it's pretty clear it's an accident. How you know it's an accident if you have not spoken to the shooter? Who told you? If you're not involved in the case, how do you know it's an accident? I mean, I'm just trying to understand. I mean, I'm just really trying to understand. I just don't believe that if Justice even told his sister what happened and she told you, I still don't understand how this young man is in y'all house living with y'all and y'all don't even ask him, or you don't ask him what happened, Justice. You took him to church. You didn't ask him if it was intentional or not. How do you know? I'm just so confused. I'm just so confused. I'm just so confused. Okay. All right. So I'm just so confused. Mr. Timmy and your beautiful wife. Hello. How are y'all?
Good to have you.
Y'all hear me? Very good. Okay, hold on. Let me try to fix our screen. Let me move this chat out the way. All right. Y'all are a little blurry. You're a little blurry.
It keeps repeating also.
Say that one more time.
It keeps repeating everything you say also.
Yeah, we might need to switch over to the phone because you're very blurry. We barely can see you guys. We can hear you, but I don't want it to be overlapping on y'all. So is it okay if I just send the link to your phone and you can hop on that way? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna drop the link to y'all phone real quick and then y'all come up that way. It's pretty easy the same way, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, y'all, give me one moment. Let me drop this link to them for the phone because I think that'll be better. We can see them and we can hear them. So give me one moment. Let me drop this real quick. But yeah, I'm just trying to understand. I mean, do y'all see that? Like, isn't that crazy how the mayor, they so worried about college? I mean, they so worried about college. Okay, let's see. Give me one moment, y'all. Let me drop this link. to Mr. Timmy. Okay, it should be coming to you, Mr. Timmy. I just sent that to you. You should be able to do the same thing that we talked about. So I'll give them a couple of minutes to get that so they can come back up here. But it's so crazy that this is just so sad. I feel like that. I just feel like that even the DA, the district attorney, needs to turn this case over to a special prosecutor so we know that it is an impartial investigation. Okay, that we know it is an impartial investigation. Okay, give me one moment. So sad. All right, that's good. So just turn me down on your devices. Me. Okay. I wait for hold on, y'all. They're catching up. Yeah, partial investigation. Okay, give me Mr. Timmy. Y'all turn your other device off. So you can hear. Okay, can y'all hear me through this device that you're on?
I can.
Okay, good. Thank y'all so much. Let me see if I can put this up here. Okay, let me see. I can do it like that. Okay, we're good like that. It froze a little bit. I can't. Okay, there we go. Okay, thank y'all so much for coming on. Hello. How are y'all doing today?
Hanging in there.
Mr. Timmy, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know this has been some very hard months for you, especially feeling like, you don't have a voice, you're reaching out to people to try to speak and nobody wants to hear your story. Nobody wanted to hear your side. You know your son better than anybody, you guys actually spoken to, I believe, Tori and to find out what happened, like what happened to my son.
Right.
And I just want to say, welcome to the NC Beat, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
First, I want to say, Mr. Timmy, can you tell us who Hassan was for the people that don't know?
Well, I want to tell you, he was born March 5th, 1992. Cool day. Lovable son, loved to laugh, loved to joke. He loved family. He was a people person. He always was problems in his own hand, like he was going to do something about it. He can handle it, he can give advice. He was that type of person. And he wore his heart always close and knitted inside it. And he was the type of person, once you meet him, you never forget him.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss that.
Yeah. And you and your son was very close, right? You got
very close. We were
close. How did you find out about October 19th of last year?
Well, the incident happened earlier that day. Me and my wife went to the state fair, and we got back that night. And about 11 o'clock, we got a call. Amber, which is one of his baby's mother, called us, and she was, she was hysterical. She was screaming in the phone like, "Her son is gone." I'm like, "What you mean?" We call him Red. Red is his name for us. We call him Red. She was like, "Red is gone." So in order for me to get some clarity, I had to hang up and call back so that I can get, breaking there so I can understand. Then once I got the second call through, I was able to understand what was going on. And that's when she told us that my son had passed away.
Well, I'm so sorry for your loss, your son. It's just so sad that, because of another person's negligence, not because of his own, because of another person's negligence and irresponsibility, his life was taken from him, leaving his kids behind, leaving his dad, his mom, leaving his family behind. What did you do next after you learned about your son's?
At the time, like I said, we had gotten in, I had got relaxed, and I began to put clothes on. So my wife asked me, she said, "Babe, where you going? You can't go away tonight." And that time, I really didn't know what hospital he was at, any of that. So we just and we all got on the phone, and we decided best to get together the next day and get some clarity on everything. But that was one of the hardest nights of my life, and has been ever since. Really haven't been good health-wise since this happened. A lot of emotional stuff been going on with me. My voice has been in and out, it's been leaving me. All this has happened ever since it's been gone. So I've been dealing with a lot. having to visit doctors, go to hospitals, been having to do ourselves kind of halfway decent to go to work because we got to work. And my wife has been a good support system to me. But this is something that I'm sitting here and listening to the interview, and the mayor and his wife keep saying extended family. We're not extended family. We're the family. They're extended family. We've never been extended family. We're a family. And I'm sitting here hearing them say this, and we're talking. You know, he's talking proud, but hurt the most when you make claims on live TV. And I was aware of that. Justice was a carry and conceal. He had a carry and conceal. So that means he was like me. He's able to carry and his firearm by license. So you should know gun safety. You know,
exactly.
Gun safety should have been your first priority. You should never bring a gun in the residence where a kid is. And they always tell you in gun class, you'll never bring your gun into another residence unless it's okay first. You can't just walk with a gun on. You have to let them know you're carrying and have to be okay. So that means someone had to know that you were carrying and that it was okay to bring it in. So like once you get that firearm to on your side or wherever you're carrying it, you're responsible for whatever that firearm do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so the firearm was Justice's firearm, right?
Yes,
was his firearm. Yeah, because you're absolutely right about that. I would think anybody would know that has a carry conceal permit to know you shouldn't be mishandling a firearm, and then you should know that you should clear the chamber. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that it's not a live round in there if you playing or messing with it, as you know, the police report states.
That's one baby in the house, you know.
Yeah, and the baby in the house. Wow. So you and the family met the next day, right? So what did you learn from the conversation you all had?
Well, the first conversation was, this was an accident. We heard that the gun dropped and went off, and this is what killed him. But me knowing who I am, and I've seen this a lot because I work in the funeral business also. Me seeing this, I know this was no accident. There's no way you can drop a firearm any kind of way on the floor and it hits you center of your forehead. My son was almost as tall as me. I'm 6'2". It would have never hit you center of the forehead. It might have hit you in the leg, stomach, or chest, never center of the forehead. I've got enough common sense to know that about firearms. I've been around them too long and too much. And when I heard this, I said something's not right.
Yeah.
You can only ask people that was there if they come around. So it was never available anyone for me to ask until the day of the wake, which is the day before the funeral, and the day of the funeral, which you're surrounded by people, so I could never actually talk to you like I need to talk to you.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I dealt with.
Wow. So it was 3 people in the home. Well, it was 4 of your son, but it was 3 people who made it out. Tori, Justice, and Brandon.
Yeah.
Now, did you have an opportunity to speak to Justin or Brandon?
Neither one of
them. Okay, he's one of them. And what did he tell you?
Neither one of them.
Neither one of them. I'm sorry. Neither one of them. Okay. What about Tori? Did you have an opportunity to speak to Tori?
Very briefly.
Okay, and can you tell us, what did she tell you?
Well, it was so much went on that night.
I initially reached out to Tori. It might have been
wifey.
Hi, Williams. I'm the wife of Tim Williams, Hassan's stepmother.
Yes.
Yes,
ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you for allowing us to come on your show. I initially reached out to Tori maybe a couple weeks after the funeral. We met her for the first time at the wake, and we exchanged phone numbers outside of the wake. And she said that we could call her, but she was still a little emotional from seeing Hassan, from seeing Red at the wake. So I mostly took my time in contacting her for the sake of my husband. He just was not emotionally ready, which is completely understandable, to speak with her then, because he wanted to make sure that we did speak to her, that it was the truth, and that we allowed each other enough time where we could ask for a play-by-play what happened. Because even though Timmy was not ready to speak at that time, as a parent, first of all, he's distraught.
Yeah.
And as a parent, any parent would want to know from the person living with them what happened and what led up to it. What details do you recall? What did you hear? What did you see? And the first story we were told the night of the fatality is a completely different story. We were told that Hassan and his cousin were playing with a gun, and the gun either dropped or fell, and the bullet landed in Hassan's head. I thought that was odd, but at the time, we were so overwhelmed by the loss of Red that I just didn't have time to process it. But later on, as I lay down, trying to console Timmy all night, I thought about that and I thought about that. I also am a carry conceal member in North Carolina. And you go through training. You have an all-day class. You are taught gun safety, and you're taught not to be reckless with your gun or careless with it. And I don't know how you accidentally shoot someone in the front of the head. We asked what happened, and we were told that Corey was sitting in a room adjacent to the kitchen. There was a wall and a table separating, and this is the description that she's giving us. She's trying to give us a visual of where she was. So I'm repeating what she's informed us. So she couldn't see, she couldn't hear very much because there's a TV, there's a baby there, and she's on her phone. And so she's really not trying to listen to the conversation the gentlemen were having in the kitchen, but she could hear bits and pieces. And so knowing what we were told at the sitting prior to Red's wake, I wanted to know, and I wanted to hear it from her verbatim what we were told. And that just wasn't what we heard. They were a different set of subject matter that she said she claimed to have overheard. Nothing what we were told she heard and said. One thing that I think is monumental when something like this happens and you're there, this is your fiance who you live with, who you're raising your son with, who you are supposed to be in love with, but you didn't hear anything regarding a gun. Certain knowledge, and the way she's describing us, so there was a gun. Until she heard the gunshot. She didn't know that anyone brought over the gun that day. We were told that the gentlemen, the people visiting Hassan came over that day. No, she never communicated that one of the cousins was living there.
Yeah.
She just said they came over to hang out. He's getting ready to go to college. The other cousins came over. There was no argument. There was no fighting. They were just having a conversation. I was really looking for her, and I'm not trying to condemn her, but I'm simply comparing what we learned at Red's grandmother's house, what we were told, and what I'm now hearing one-on-one, and they were different stories. And I'm thinking that if this were me, and you can only imagine what you would do or say in a circumstance like that. You don't know until it really happens to you. But I would imagine I could remember if I would hear the words, "Man, why you keep pointing that gun at my head like that?" I won't that detail if someone asked me again, hey, what happened? I'm assuming that the same question.
Yeah.
And then I'm not condemning her. I'm not here to tell whether she's telling the truth or a lie, but I just know that the first story and what she told us personally on our phone conversation 2 weeks later were different. She never repeated that she heard those words.
So Tori heard Hassan say that the first story she heard him say, "Why you keep pointing that gun at me?"
That's what was told to us at Hassan's grandmother's house.
Got you. Okay, got you. That's what we're told to you guys. And you know, and then now the story is changing, but that first statement, "Why you keep pointing that gun at me," it kind of lines up to how he got
Yeah,
that bullet
that makes
right
sense.
there.
That
Did you
someone was
point it?
pointing a gun at him.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the I wanted to ask her is they played the 911 call.
Yeah.
The 911 call, she is hysterical, she's crying, all that seems normal. But it was odd to me that she kept saying it was a mistake and it was an accident. But when you're in the other room, and she claimed she didn't know these other individuals very well. She just met them a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And they've come over to the house maybe one time before. So you don't really know them. You don't know their motive. You can't hear their conversation. You didn't know there was a gun being brought over to the house. And there's no mention of a gun. So on the 911 call, how do you know to say his cousin was messing with the gun?
Now, I want to put a pin right there.
Go ahead.
She made that statement about on the 911 call. It's a mistake. They were playing with the gun. The mayor made the same comment in his statement. It was a mistake. I think he made a mistake and told on himself in his statement.
He
Because
did.
first of all, how would you know? It sounded like it was so practiced that everyone knew what to say. I'm not dumb. I'm 53 and I'm not stupid. I'm very
Come on, Mr.
You went to the house and collected stuff. Everybody knows when a death investigation is going on, you take nothing out of the house.
Absolutely.
Not even an ID. You don't take that out of the house. Only thing you take out of that is your baby and yourself. Everything else stays put. Everybody knows that. And you being a mayor should know that. Then you're gonna say, then we was told that you never cleaned up the crime everywhere. Why would you want to go to the house with blood is everywhere? Loved one just got killed and you collected items. And you say you're hysterical.
You're there with the shooter.
And you said you're bad, you're hurting. But you're in there collecting items. And my son, blood is still all over the floor. Splattered everywhere, laying everywhere. But you said you hysterical. Day after the funeral, you didn't get a card. You didn't get one. Didn't the one show up. Like the mayor wouldn't have showed up to the funeral. Hey, I give my condolences. Didn't see the mayor. Like we didn't see a check for the cost of the funeral. I didn't see none of this.
Well, that's what immediate
this is my thing. This is what immediate family do. This happened in my city. I'm gonna take care of these charges.
Right.
None of that happened. So that lets me know you show and you cover up. Because all I could hear in the interview was the scoop. At least your son is still here. My son is not here. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm mad. And I'm all of that. And that day that happened, I felt some kind of way. I really wanted to do a lot of things. I wanted a lot of things to happen. But, you know, being in the legal system, things don't always happen like we want them to happen. But I think some people should
that same night he's been locked up.
No one should have been able to leave the jail, fingerprinted, and all of this. None of that happened. None of that happened because it's not in the report. And if you have a gun, you should have fingerprint. You should have been dusting your hand for gunshot residue. None of that was done. It was not in the report, was it? Was it in the report? Not in the report. I called FBI over. She was dragging their feet, giving me a little bit of anger now. So I'm talking out of anger. And I'm talking
Go
out
ahead.
of hurt. I'm talking out of hurt. More hurt than anything. And everybody told me, call this person. This person told me to call this person. I'm jumping around like an Easter bunny. And you're the first guy, and I thank you for reaching out, giving us a platform to talk. All I want to do is talk and resolve things, and it might not even get this far. It had shame when a black man's life has got to get this far and to get justice. I feel like a lot of people should be locked up. I feel like some people should be stepping out of their office because they know what's wrong. And even if even if justice don't come from this, I know God will get the ultimate justice. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen in your lifetime. Because you don't just do to people like this, take their life and just walk away. It don't work like that.
You don't just get to go.
You don't just get to go to church the next day. You don't just get to take your son the next day and let the pastor lay hands on him. What about my son? Your son here, my son landed in the ground somewhere, the cold ground, and it's freezing tonight. He landed on a freezing ground, probably wondering in his mind how he got there. And I'm sitting here trying to put all this together. And it's been very hard, been very emotional. My job performance has dropped. So everything is just, I think we got grounded because I just, a lot of time I wanted to leave here. I didn't want to, after my son died, I wanted to leave too. And it's bad. I wanted to leave too because the grandbabies, the daughters, the grandbabies, asking questions. Is my father really dead? How much that means? Because I know by now they know their father dead, but it's not settled in with them yet. And I just don't know how well they're going to be once they finally let this settle in. And I just want justice for my son. I don't want, I'm not trying to take away from anybody else. I want justice for my son. I feel like if you're gonna do something, you should suffer the consequence. When I was coming up, I did something bad. I got a whooping for it. You shouldn't go to college, sit in the dorm with other people. So if you get away with it, my son, who to say you won't get away with it again?
Exactly. Thank you.
You know, so I mean that's just me. And I speak it out of it.
Yes, the punishment is you get to live with the mayor.
Ain't that crazy?
Yes, because even accidents have consequences.
They do. They do.
Accidents
Criminal
consequences, especially when someone has lost their life. This is not the time to, you know, the night this happened, I watched the mayor's press conference. He was lining up attorneys. And then they said the next day they went ahead and they went to church the next day. And he said it so nonchalantly, as if this is supposed to just, you know, blow over. But my thing is this: if you went to church the next day, I'm looking for, if you just go to church or if you're a Christian. And me and my husband, we practice what we are preached to each Sunday. And our Bible and our God teaches us that you bear the infirmities of one another. So if now they're mourning, they just stayed in their home and they're mourning for Red, for Hassan, where does that transfer to his immediate family? They are not the immediate family. This is his father. His mother has never received anything. If you're a real Christian and you go to church the next day, nothing in your heart that says, I must reach out to Hassan's family. You know his family. You know his mother. You may not know the father, but you know his mother. You know his grandmother. You know his uncles. You mean to tell me his life, all of that mourning you did in your homes, never transpired to a card, flowers? The mayor's office had no way of knowing his funeral arrangements. You didn't know where his funeral was. You didn't know where he was having his wake. You didn't know how to find his family because you're his family now.
That's crazy.
The woman that birthed him You have no way of getting in touch with her to say anything to her, but you're crying and you're mourning. I think the
On
tears,
TV.
I think the tears are for her,
Mhm.
and rightfully so. But
Mm.
responsibility that's being asked of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If not the
Yeah.
mayor, if not just the regular mayor, what about a Christian? Christians
Mhm.
go to church. So where is your Christian duty to this, to Red's parents, to Red's family, to his children?
Wow.
This is one thing I would say to the man. Just imagine you got a son. You do, but I'm just saying a blood son that loved you like my son loved me. But wouldn't you think you want just think about a man that has not the resources that you have,
Mhm.
but has intelligence enough to know that his son don't play with guns because the son knows of
Yeah.
a gun. I'm married, and you and your wife that's much. You couldn't just come down to the wake, express your grief. When
They
me,
didn't come to the wake.
you can't come to the wake.
No.
You couldn't come to the funeral. You couldn't come to the house. Couldn't come anywhere. But you was grieving. So what you think we was doing? Having a party? I don't make sense out of that in my head. Is that you over this big city? They trust you. So I'm just saying to myself, I'm talking to the mayor tonight. Just do what's right. Forget about who's involved, what they mean to you, how what kin they are to you. Do what's right. Now, this is a plea from man to man, because I'm definitely all man, and I'm pleading to you. Just do what's right. You do what's right, God will take care of it. But if you don't do what's right, you won't get rid of that. It's just when I've fallen out with some friends, just over simple stuff, I couldn't rest until I got it right.
Right.
And that's the Christian man in me.
But that's because you have a right heart.
But
It starts with your heart and your conscience.
But he is practicing Christianity because he's saying, I'm going to church. It's the difference in going to church and the church being
right.
Because sometimes, and you've been eyes, they don't have to say a word.
Right.
They can speak with their eyes. I haven't laid eyes on neither one of these, him or the wife, other than on a press conference. And it's always about Hassan Williams, which is my son, Red.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes me feel some kind of way when they say his extended family. We're not extended family.
It's insulting. Insulting. As a mother.
We're the only family.
Mm-hmm.
And me wanting justice for my son can't be no more than what's right.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm begging, I'm pleading with this mayor. If you see this podcast, and I already emailed you before, so don't say you ain't got my information. You can reach out to me. I want to hear from you. I want to talk man to man.
Man to man.
Now, I don't know how y'all do business, but I know how men do business.
Right, man.
I'm a man, as a father, as a son, as a Christian, I'm reaching out to you. I could have forgiveness in my heart, but that's the thing that comes with healing. But you can't heal when you don't know truth.
Come on, you can't.
You can't heal until if I knew the truth.
Yeah,
I can heal.
Yeah,
but there's no peace for the father.
Right, right.
And there's no peace for the mother. There's no peace for the family.
Yeah.
There's no peace for the grandmother.
He has grandmothers and uncles.
He has a sister that she's almost lost ever since it happened. You know, it's just, she just ain't herself. And me, and a lot of times I be at work, I'm trying to focus on my job. My mind is just blank.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find myself on the way to work. Then I realize what I'm doing. I'm like, you know, he's probably not going to answer. But it's just, I look at his pictures all around me and I try to remember the memories we have. It's hard. I don't know if people lose children a lost kid, but it's very hard. And I saw somebody put some on your post about you putting up fake stuff for that person that put it on there. You lose a child. Nothing this man is doing tonight is fake. We're not. I'm the real father. I'm Timmy. Dwayne, check my bio. I'm the real father. This stepmother, he has real parents. This man is doing the justice. So I appreciate it if you wouldn't come on his page and put those kind of comments on there, especially if you're a brother. You should know better.
Yeah.
That's checking you, man to man.
Absolutely.
I back up. I'm a man first. You should come on a podcast of another brother, put something negative up there. Stop your mess. Stop your mess.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We're trying to get justice for my son. We ain't got time for negativity over there. I just leave this man alone. This man appointed by God to do things for his people. Leave him alone. Keep your hands off him. He's my new friend. Keep your hands off him. You know, I mean, this man is trying to get justice for my son, and enough. We're dealing with enough hurt than us hurting each other. Yeah. Martin Luther King did things years ago to make us have rights. Mm-hmm. Now we have right to justice, have right to vote. Yeah. Give this man a right to have a podcast. Yeah. That will put a platform out there for people that, like me, that can't afford these high shot lawyers and stuff. Yeah. Lawyers cost money. You know, everybody don't have money to buy lawyers and stuff. So get this man his prompt. Get somebody live. You're doing a good thing. He didn't ask me to say that. That's from the heart.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Timmy. Mr. Timmy, I say, they talked about the Lord, and I don't even pay him no attention because I know what it is. It's nobody but the devil. The devil don't want the truth to be told, but I step on the devil's head every day. Like he's under my foot right now. I'm looking at him right now. He like, he can't even get up because he under my foot. But I do want to say that is so crazy that they got up here in this press conference and said what they said and didn't even show to the funeral, didn't come to the wake, didn't even call y'all, but sit up here trying to act like they are an immediate family. Now, actually, Brandon and Justice are the cousins on Hassan's mom, dad's side, right? Or how are they? Okay, yeah. So they not even I give because like me, my cousins, we close on my mom's side. Like my mom, my grandma, my mom, but my dad's side cousins, I don't even know them. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and I wouldn't even let them come around me because I don't know y'all like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it can end up in situations like this. And then I don't know, but I know that they are more worried about Justice, his college and this education. And like you said, Ms. Gail, them tears were for her brother. They was not for Hassan. They was for her brother. She's sad that her brother is in this. It's a possibility that he could be charged and he could ruin everything that she worked hard for him to get him in. And I do want to say this, there are other legal options that you can take. And so the SBI is still investigating this case. It has to be turned over to a DA's office at some point. And I'm praying that even if this Guilford County District Attorney does not turn it over to a special prosecutor because of the conflict of interest that I think that her office has with the mayor's office, I feel like that I can definitely show enough say that the mayor had some influence in it. And definitely, you have you can sue them. Wrongful death. You can you have those legal options. And I know a good attorney. I tell people all the time, I know a good attorney. I already told them I know a good attorney that would and it's not going to bring your son back, but it's going to stop all of this negligence and all this cover up, and it's going to hit them where it hurts them at, and they need to pay. They need to pay. And I want to thank you all. Is there anything else you all have to say tonight?
I just want to send this out to most of the young people. If you have a father, cleave to your father. If you have a son, cleave to your son. If you don't have anyone, look for someone in your life that's older, mature, and positive. Let's stop the violence. Yeah. Used to be a time where we could go next door and borrow it. Now we can't even get young men to speak and pull the pants up. we got to get to that place again where it's more love than hate. Because they always say love causes a multitude of sins.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
We got to do the right thing in this process. And I tell people in my life, I want my grandkids to grow up a good man, did everything in his power to that they will be okay. And they're gonna be okay. And that young man will be missed dearly. He's thought about daily, 4 or 5 times a day, and he'll never be forgotten. And I just want all the young folk out there to just know that I don't want this for some young that just coming into the world, learning themselves, learn how to love and stop the hate. Learn how to love and be happy for somebody, stop the jealousy. If your brother get a new car, rejoice with him. You get yours soon. Your brother get a podcast, rejoice with him. You'll get one soon. Your time is not yet, but your time is coming if you're doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
And I want to say that for his daughters that now have to grow up without their dad. I had the blessing of having my dad until I was maybe 23. I came from divorced parents, but one thing my mother always did, she always made me understand that even though me and your father are divorced and we're not together, you and your father are not divorced. So as a young child, I was taught, call your father on his birthday, invite your father over for Christmas dinner. These are things that once I got older, I was so grateful to my mom because she could have discouraged me from being close to my father and having that relationship. And so when I lost my father in my early days, and he was 71, 72, even though I still had a relationship with my father. Hassan's daughters are growing up without him, that I want them to know that they can feel free to come to us, to his grandparents, to his family, and we don't mind talking about him to them. And I want them to know that Timmy is available for them. And that their father, nobody's father is perfect. No father starts out being perfect. We all make mistakes, but I want them to know that their dad did love them. That they were loved and they're still loved.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. I just want to say you guys are my new friends. Mr. Timmy, you have my personal direct line. Keep me updated in this case. I'm on this case. I'm sending out paperwork to the High Point mayor's office starting Monday. And see, the information that I asked for is public records. Like it's literally public records. There's no way you can deny it or turn it. You might try to delay it, but we can sue them to get that type of information if we need to. And I'm going to look because I'm interested in learning more information, and I'm interested in learning more about who else this mayor has helped, influence. And I just feel like this is a big influence, and I feel like the mayor needs to step down. That press conference was not an honest press conference. You told on yourself. You said you had not had any opportunity to talk to. Let me ask you that. Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe they haven't had no conversation?
I definitely don't believe that. When everybody was giving their statements, everybody was saying the same thing. So, I mean, if I'm saying something, my wife's saying something, it's going to come out totally different. We're not going to say the same thing unless we practice saying the same thing.
Unless we've had discussions
about saying the same thing.
And it's hard to have someone such a crime. And then you take them home and you discuss that, but you've discussed college.
It's hard to believe that.
It's very difficult to believe that. And it sends a message. It sends a message that taking someone's life It's okay if it was an accident. So now let's get on with your life.
Yeah.
And there has to be some accountability on both sides.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And immediate family, Timmy, Red's mother, Red's grandmother, they paid immediate family for arrest. Unfortunately, they had to bear their grandson, my stepson, who we all loved. And we're not expecting the mayor to come up with the check, but we are expecting him to step up and express some type of condolences to Red's immediate family.
Yeah.
Red did not belong to them. He belonged to all of us in different capacities, but Red has a mother. And just because podcast, you know, I want her to know that we respect her as Red's mother, and she is hurting too. That's her child. That's Timmy's child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I want the mayor to consider that.
And I'm yeah. No, go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, I was just going to say tomorrow I'm going to write this story that we talked about tonight and put it up so it'll be printed out so people will know. And I just can't believe that the mayor should be ashamed of himself. And it makes me want to go up there. And I think I really want to go up there and just stand outside his office and tell him to resign. He needs to resign. And it's just so sad. I'm so sorry that this has happened. And now people know the real story. They know that press conference was just a cover up. And you know what? 47 days is a good amount of time to practice and rehearse to make sure you got your ducks in a row.
Especially when everybody's together. You know,
and it's also plenty of time to get in touch with Red's immediate family.
Yeah.
It's plenty of time.
Yeah. And did not. The same night, I was like, oh my gosh, Mr. Timmy, I'm so like the same night. I just like, if that was my first cousin, I wouldn't be acting like that, like how she was. It was just like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, no, I would be hysterical. Like the way she explained how she grew up and how you would be hysterical. I wouldn't even be able to console myself at the press conference. They would have to have somebody over there to try to help me.
If that's how you grew up. If that's how you grew up.
Exactly. I would need an usher.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so sad. It is so sad. And I just want to say thank you all. And I'm just still trying to figure out how everybody's saying it's an accident, but one there and they had no conversation with the shooter. So the only person that should be knowing what's really going on is the SBI. They're the only ones that's going to tell us what happened in this story. Because I mean, but hey, you know, when you
communicated to me that they spoke to the people who were on the scene, and pretty much that's what they based their investigation on. And when I asked the FBI investigator if she would be interested in speaking to someone else who may have very important information, what days before leading up to this fatality, and pretty much she told me no, that she's pretty much spoken to the people.
And that's what I was.
And
that's what
my conversation going forward short with me.
Yeah.
So that let me believe and know that she's already completed the investigation. Yes, and she is not interested in gathering or digging any deeper, other than taking the words of those who were in the home.
And you know what? That's what I was just getting around to. You know, unless they all rehearsed and said, hey, we're going to say it was an accident.
Because how does everyone go home and go to bed after someone has been killed?
I hate to say this, but if that had been a white kid, no one would have been going home.
No.
At least not until the investigation was over.
Not that night. They wouldn't have been going home. But it's sad that it's got to be a black kid.
Yeah.
And you got to beg for justice when a black family did it to him.
Yeah.
It'd be different if the opposite race done it. It'd be like more real to you. But now it's your own color and your own family claim to be doing it to you. And you can't get justice.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we have the person and no gun. Now we got a gun and no purse.
Right. And
That's
it's
what
normally the other way around.
Right.
A person, but no murder. This is just so crazy. But you know what? Let me say this to you all. I feel like that I want to know what I'm gonna send a request to get your son's autopsy, because even medical examiners, now the medical examiners say it's a homicide or whatever, then they're gonna have to, their investigation gonna have to change in some way. But I mean, to perfectly shoot somebody in the, I mean, I don't understand how, even if I'm 5'11" and if somebody drop a gun,
it's gonna hit you in the shoulder.
It's gonna be lower. Like,
Yes.
I can't see the gun, like the bullet going up like that. I mean, you know, but to be perfectly right there, I'm sure it would have shot in the head, the side, or
You would
somewhere else.
have to aim it there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Wow.
And the amount of damage that it did to the skull, your hand would have to be real close to do that kind of damage.
Yeah.
Dropping a gun, shot in the head, my son would have lived. If that gun would have hit the floor and shot like they said it did, he would have lived. But being as close as it was, the damage it did to the back, that let me know it was real close.
Yeah. And you know what the mayor should have done? You know what the mayor should have done the moment he got that call was to call the SBI on the scene right then. So none of his officers should have been there, because y'all ain't got y'all ain't got none of that off of this guy. All that stuff is gone. When did y'all call the SBI in? Because I see on the press release that was released the same, I think it was the same night. It says October. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull it back up. It doesn't have a date on here, but when I looked it up earlier, hold on. Let's see. On Google, it had a date. I think it was December 19th. Hold on. Let me see here. Pull it up. I can't remember. I think it was the night. It was the night of was the date that it was put up there. But then in this press conference, he's talking and talking and talking, and at some point they decide to call in the SBI. But you know, this whole press conference with this man is just sad. He needs to resign. I'm going to be looking into this, and like I told you guys, you know, I told an attorney who does, you know, civil rights attorney, you know, you can sue him. So we're going to see how the investigation ends, and you know, we go from there. You guys have my contact, and I will be in contact with you all. And thank you all so much for coming up here. Anytime you want to touch on the situation, you are more than welcome to come. You and Miss Gail.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. Good night. We're praying for y'all.
Thank you.
Y'all, did y'all hear that, family? That is so sad. It was a little audio problems, but I can hear them. I can still make out everything that they were saying. And I'm going to write it up and put it on the blog tomorrow, so you guys will be able to go back and reread what was said. But I mean, they didn't even call the family. They didn't even go to the funeral, but sitting up here acting like they are family. This is crazy. Now, I want to play this audio recording too. The 911 call from old girl, Tori. Hold on, let me pull it up. It's short. It's short. WFMY got it, but it's short. But I want y'all to just hear this little bit that she said, the most important part of it. Okay. All right. Can y'all see this? Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
His cousin was in here playing with the gun. I wasn't here. I don't know what happened. His cousin was doing something with this gun, and he accidentally shot right in the head.
See, that's what I don't understand. How you saying his cousin was doing something with the gun and he accidentally shot? Again, girl, you was not in there. That's what I don't understand. How y'all keep saying it's an accident and you just said you was not in there. Listen to this again. Hold on.
His cousin was in here playing with the gun. I wasn't here. I don't know what happened. His cousin was doing something with this gun, and he accidentally shot right in the head.
Yeah, the mayor done, listen, somebody done been promised something. Somebody done been said, hey, I do this for you. I get you through this. Somebody done been something. Because all y'all worried about is college. I don't, but man, listen, you can go tell that to somebody else, Mayor Serial Jefferson, you go tell that to somebody else all that crap. You better look, I went in the press conference because I would have ran you down. I would say, stop this line in this press conference, Mayor. You just said that you didn't have no conversation about it. What led up to it? So who briefed you on this being an accident? Who told you this was an accident? Sir, you need to step down. Now, do me and Mallory Thornton need to come to out there outside the mayor's office and call for your resignation? Because we will. You need to step down. You are not fit to be the mayor. You are not honest. You have no integrity. You sat up here, you lied. You didn't rehearse better. Your face told it all. It don't make sense what you're saying. You can't remember the lies that you're telling, and you need to step down. I just don't understand. And then to sit up here and act like y'all family didn't even call, because y'all know your brother shot this man wrongfully. And I mean, that's the only way you don't reach out. It can't be a true accident and you not reach out. You know what an accident is? If somebody jumping on a family member in the house, it's a stranger, somebody, and you trying to, and the person pull out a gun, or you trying to shoot them, and you accidentally shoot the loved one that they're wrestling with. That's an accident. That's an accident. That's a genuine accident. But even that is still criminal because it's unintentional. It's involuntary manslaughter. That's what Justice need to be charged with. He's wrong. He did it. And I can't wait for them boys in college to see his ass up on the NCB so they know what he did. Y'all, I'm not taking no calls tonight. I'm gone. Thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate everybody that stuck with us. I know the audio, some of you guys will probably have a hard time, but I just don't like to interrupt families when they are talking. You know what I mean? I just don't like to interrupt them. And we got through it. I understood what they said. So, but thank y'all so much for coming on tonight. And please share this live. And remember, y'all, keep on praying for this young man family, Hassan Williams, 32 years old, when he lost his life. Shot, life taken by this man, 19-year-old Justice Rothwell. Okay, a liar, Tory Johnson, just a fool, a lying mayor, High Point mayor. It's all them. It's High Point mayor, Serial Jefferson. It's Justice Rothwell. It's Raven Jefferson. It's Tory Johnson. It's all of them against Hassan Williams and Mr. Timmy Williams and all of Hassan's close relatives, close family members, immediate family members. The mayor is influencing this investigation, has influenced this investigation to a place where you heard how the investigator was talking to Ms. Gale. That's how they do. When they got this case wrapped up, it's all that. But baby, there are lawsuits and you can be sued. And I hope that Mr. Timmy come after y'all for everything that you have for killing his son wrongfully. Wrongfully. It's a wrongful death investigation. And if no charges are brought, it's because of the mayor and his influence and his presence on crime scenes at police departments when you should have stayed your ass at home, in the bed, or in the car. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Have a good weekend, Beat Mob. We did it.